Hi, so I watched the movie called Sunrise, and basically what it's about is a couple. The husband seems to not really care about his wife anymore and is more interested in his love affair, and this weighs heavily on his wife. The woman that he's having an affair with tries to convince him to kill his wife to get rid of the issue because, you know, that's how they solved problems back then. So he tries to go through with it and he tries to kill his wife, but he ends up not going through with it, and she ultimately is just scared to death from him and starts running away from him, and they go all around the city where she's just crying and sobbing and trying to get away from him, and he's like, "Don't be afraid of me." After a while, he, instead of saying "don't be afraid of me," he says "forgive me," and this is when they were sitting in on a wedding that had been going on downtown. She forgave him and she was trying to comfort him now because he's sobbing. So they start to rekindle their relationship over this day, and it starts to work out, and they actually are just absolutely in love now, which is so crazy because he just tried to kill her. In the end, they tried to go back home in their little boat, and there was a huge storm, so then they almost died. And then she was just like drowning, so then he had to like save her, so she almost did die without him actually meaning to do it. The woman that he was having an affair with thought the deed was done, so then she came over to his house and he tried to kill her because he was so upset because he thought his wife was now dead. And then the wife turned out not to be dead. And then they lived happily ever after, and the affair woman moved away. Was it a good movie? Yes, I was very intrigued the entire time. It didn't lose my attention at all. The only thing is just, it kind of shows, or not shows, but it almost makes fun of how back and forth us women can be, which we're definitely not that back and forth. Because if somebody tried to kill me, I wouldn't be lovey-dovey in their arms the next hour just because I asked for my forgiveness. I think that takes time to heal those wounds, and I think murder is a completely separate category of hurt. So if I had the same story, I would have probably not actually had him scare her as much as he did, but have her be naive of the situation because she actually knew what was about to happen, so therefore it was more hurtful. So I think if he would have just changed himself internally without her knowing that he was actually going to kill her, then I think it would have been a better and more realistic film, for sure. Overall, silent films are actually impressing me because I thought I would never ever want to sit through something like that, but they actually are really intriguing. Because I mean, they don't have dialogue, so their facial expressions, their body language has to be a little bit stronger, and I think it's easier to follow along in a silent movie, which is kind of crazy. So learning a lot here. Thanks, Tony. You get an A+ for this assignment.